Okay, we are live. No one has had time to join us yet, so we're saying hello to the replay watchers. I'm Trisha Carr,
Hello.
and this is Jennifer Mitchell. Jennifer is a QHHT practitioner. I'm a hypnotherapist and an intuitive and medium, and we got a puppy dog with us too. Excuse me, I had to cough a little bit. Your doggy's coughing, I'm coughing too. So Jennifer was just recently on my podcast, Charmed Life, and she shared some really cool experiences that she has witnessed with her clients. And so I thought we would talk about that. And hello, those of you who are joining us live. And those of you who are
Hello.
joining us live, we will take questions. You can put them right there in the feed. Any questions about spirituality, Dolores Cannon's work, hypnosis in general. So, Jennifer, why don't you tell everyone in case the people who are here, hi, Courtney, in case the people who are here have never heard of QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. Hi, Jeremy. Let everyone know what that is, or maybe who Dolores Cannon is, because she's still eternal.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll start with Dolores Cannon. I like to consider Dolores Cannon like a spiritual pioneer. She started doing past life regression work in the late 1950s, and she really pushed the boundaries and opened up these new ways of thinking during a time in which nobody was considering spirituality or past life regression. She authored over 17 books during her lifetime, and she regressed thousands of people worldwide and started QHHT. What really separates QHHT from different types of hypnotherapy is that she found a way to connect her clients with the higher self, the subconscious mind. It's that part of us that is connected to source that lives in every single one of us. And that's really where the quantum comes in the quantum healing. And with QHHT, it's truly the deepest type of work that a person can do. Um, Connecting with the higher self in the quantum realm, you're able to scan not only past lives, but future lives, present. There is no time in quantum. So when we regress somebody and we're speaking to the higher self, there's really that ability to see everything that's going on. We can scan the body. The higher self can look for any discrepancies as far as like health wise and give you advice. I always ask my clients to bring a list of questions that they have, and we get all the answers for them as well to everything that's important and going on in their life.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it is really pretty incredible what Dolores did, because think about it, like you said, in the 50s. And
Mm-hmm.
women didn't even really, for the most part, have careers, let alone do something as spiritual and pioneering as all of that. And it really shook um, her own paradigm, her worldview. I remember reading how she said that I think the past life regression came spontaneously. Am I correct in that, as I recall?
Yes, you are correct in that. She was in the late 1950s. She was actually started doing this with her husband, and they were persecuted by some members of society and people that maybe weren't as open-minded to the type of work that she was doing, and he actually stopped doing the line of work with her, but Dolores continued on her path, and they happened to stumble across the past life when they regressed a client and she went back to a previous lifetime. So it was honestly by mistake that she discovered it.
And then she was doing that for a while. She embraced that. And then clients spontaneously started like regressing or visiting lives from other
Mhm.
planets. And that, like, again, blew her mind. And I remember reading how she said, like, she was resistant to it. It was like, okay, past life's one thing. I mean, that's enough. But she was really resistant to it. But then she sat with it a while and decided, well, if I resist this so much, I'm just like the church. I'm just as
Mhm.
dogmatic and inflexible in my worldview and paradigm awareness as the church or other dogmatic systems. So she embraced it, which again, she had no support, no one else to
Mm-mm.
say, yeah, hey, I'm with you, like we do here, of people who are showing up for this and you and I have together. It's amazing. And I just think that's such a great message for all of us, because we all feel like that. We are all who are embodying spiritual purpose, seeing a better future, seeing a new earth, and
Mhm.
we're marginalized. I think we find community, fortunately, but the fact that Dolores was decades and decades, even beyond where the large population is now, but at least we're we're joining her in the quantum timeline. Thank you, Dolores.
Yes.
We see you. We believe you. I just think that's encouraging, and
Mhm.
so I'm really appreciative of, and that she wrote all the books that she wrote, really documenting the case histories of her clients.
Mhm. And, Dolores received information coming through from her client's higher self about new earth and everything that's going on right now with the spiritual awakening that we're going through and this shift. She was talking about it 15, 20 years ago when nobody else was talking about it. I'm so sorry, my dogs are
That's okay.
barking.
Dogs are welcome.
Thank you. They're quiet all day until I hop on.
They're like, yes, talk about this. We agree. So what is you so as a QHHT practitioner,
Mhm.
that's the modality that essentially Dolores created, developed. I mean, she had decades of her own work, and then it was, what was it, like the last 10, 15 years of her life that QHHT sort of coalesced into a modality? It's okay, it's fine.
So sorry.
It's okay. Was it the last, last 10 or 15 years of her life?
Yes. So she started, with the past life regression, and then it really just developed when she realized that she was connecting to the oversoul or the higher self. Like it has many names, subconscious, I refer to it typically. That's when she really started to develop the modality and realized that it was quantum and named it QHHT, which for those of you listening that don't know what that stands for, it's quantum healing hypnosis technique. And she was able to start traveling all across the world teaching this modality. And before she passed, she started to build this large network of practitioners. And today, her daughter, Julia, carries on her work, and we have practitioners globally, worldwide. So it's really amazing what she was able to accomplish in her lifetime just by following her instincts and not being afraid to continue on her path and what she knew to be right for her soul's
Mm,
purpose.
such a good model. Yes. So everyone,
Yeah.
let's continue on following that soul purpose, even if it seems daunting or unlikely that we're being received. It's work. It's doing what your
Mhm.
soul has intended. And we talked about on the podcast, that I should probably grab a link for that. That the podcast episode that you were on recently about a client of yours who had, yeah, it was so amazing.
Yeah.
Um, some people probably who, people may have heard it, but I'm going to also post it in here. Oh, I did also do a little video of it too. So there's on this YouTube channel, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, there's a just of the story of this amazing client experience that Jennifer had. But about, you know, a contract that this couple had. When I look this way, it's because I'm putting something in the chat. I could see
Oh,
better on that screen.
okay.
I have two screens and my eyes are not, can't see that one. So I look here. Anyway, um, but part of it was, they had an encounter, maybe an abduction, and
Mhm.
they have a soul. They realize they have a soul purpose to interact and work with, and with, our benevolent other planetary, brothers and sisters. And we're getting closer and closer to disclosure, which I'm not, I am
Yes.
more on the spiritual side of it than the actual literal technical side of disclosure. My
Mhm.
husband keeps his finger on that pulse a little bit more than I do. But disclosure is the concept, or the truth, the reality that our governments, not just the United States, but governments all across our planet, have had relationship with other planetary beings for a while. Some of our technology comes from them, and that we're getting close to that being disclosed, being widely disclosed. It's partly because it's kind of getting harder for them to hide it. It's partly
Mhm.
because it will be beneficial for us to understand it. To I think it'll be difficult for a while for a lot of people to be able to integrate that concept, because for some people it's actually against their religion, like Dolores
Yeah.
was saying. It was against what she didn't realize, oh, I guess it's against my religion, but I don't want it to be against my religion. And that to be able to make, but you know what? That's what Galileo faced.
Mhm.
Galileo, when he was bringing forth a heliocentric solar system as opposed to a geocentric solar system, because he learned how to use lenses, just a technology as simple as lenses that in a telescope. And he was persecuted by the church and the
Mhm.
government, were more obviously and overtly in, linked. And so he had to actually deny the fact, he had to deny heliocentrism because his life was threatened. And now we accept it as a fact, but it was a religious concept that the solar system and the universe was earth centric, that everything rotated around the earth. So just imagine that we used to have that paradigm.
I
You know,
know. I'm just laughing because when they, to imagine that we're it with all this undiscovered and vastness that's out there that we haven't even begun to tap in on, but
it's
we're,
so
we're the only species. It just doesn't even make sense.
well, it's in a way you could say it's arrogant, but it's also just
Yeah.
juvenile because children, literally human children, are egocentric. I mean, they're supposed to be in order to learn somehow to fit on this world. And so like one of the common ways that social psychologists will describe it is, if you ask a child who's like 3 years old, why does it get dark and light, and the kid will say, so I can go to sleep and then so I can wake up. Like, literally the sun rises and
Mhm.
sets for me, like that's and it's not arrogant, it's supposed to be that way. So if we think of ourselves in that stage of development too, that okay, so our arrogance is that we're the center of the universe.
I know.
We're just toddlers. Maybe it's okay. Hi there. Hello, everyone who's on right now. So I wanted to say that I'm really excited that disclosure may be getting closer. And
Hmm.
I also, because you had that story that you shared of the client who had the encounter and they were missing time. I've been missing time the last couple of days. Not 5 hours like your client did.
Wow.
But a
Okay.
couple of times, not to today, it's been stable, but the
Mhm.
2 days before that, I lost about it was 90 it was between 60 to 90 minutes, at least. I don't know, it could have been more than that.
Wow.
And, but that's subtle enough to where I thought, "Oh, I must be like, what's wrong with me?" You know what I mean? And I got really hyper vigilant about the clock because I was like, "My day is getting away from me," but it never happens that way. And, so I wanted to ask you, by the way, the Schumann resonance has been very, very high those 2 days where I lost time,
Mhm.
and it was also like that about 10 days ago, and that, I think, it really helps us to off gas some of the things that are pollutant in our energies. It makes us more accessible or available to be able to grasp higher awareness and higher consciousness, but it also has effects in our physical bodies. And this is a scientific concept, the Schumann resonance, and that it does actually affect us cognitively and physically. How did you experience the last 2 days? Did you have trouble sleeping, or did you have any physical symptoms, headaches, tinnitus, the ringing in the ears? Anything happen with you like that?
Some ringing in the ears, definitely. I get that oftentimes in the morning when I'm waking up, but I haven't had any missing time.
Good. It's weird.
Just the ringing in the ears, though, and yeah,
Mhm.
that definitely I noticed that during certain time frames and certain periods. Um, but the fact that you're missing time is very intriguing to me. I would love to regress you and find out what's going on.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Good. Yeah, I think it could be also just be jumping timelines. I don't know if
Hmm.
something is literally going on. It could be. I
Yeah.
mean, again, if we're working with quantum time, which
Yes.
is fluid or spherical, or to in some dimensions of it completely non-existent,
Hmm.
then yeah, maybe something is also happening that you could regress me and find out if maybe somebody came down into my living room. So
You never know. I mean, my client we were shocked when we uncovered that. And I've had actually a lot of different, stories. That's definitely the one that we talked about on the podcast is one of the most unique stories. But I recently had a client a few weeks ago, and when we did a regression, she regressed to a body where it was reptilian. And she looked down and she had webbed feet and she was standing at this terminal. I actually just posted on my Instagram about it. She was at this terminal, it was like an intergalactic terminal where she could go through these portals to these different planets. And I've had clients regress to lifetimes in Lemuria and just interesting things that we find. And sometimes through my work as a practitioner, what I typically find is, as we were saying earlier, time is quantum. So all of these experiences, they're happening simultaneously. There is no past, present, future. Everything and all these timelines and realms are happening and occurring at the same time. So it's very interesting what's uncovered.
Mhm. With the story that you told on the podcast, and
Mhm.
it's also on the YouTube channel, and, have you had any, is there any update that you're able to share about those people? No?
No, I haven't had any update. I've thought about reaching out, but I also want to respect, the
Yeah,
privacy. And I feel that she will
sure.
reach out when she's ready again. I'm I'm sure I can feel that she will be reaching out again and be in
Mhm.
need for another session with everything that was going on with that situation. So
And so in case, folks didn't hear it, so Jennifer had a client who was missing time and had some interesting experience. I'm just gonna, like, sum it up real fast, get to one part of it. Had some
yes.
experiences of waking up in the night and not just missing time, but she and her partner both missed 5 hours, like, overtly, like, they were suddenly somewhere else immediately. And when
Mhm.
Jennifer, actually put her under, the higher self or the subconscious told them that there was proof on her phone. And so tell us what happened when after you did the whole session, you're probably like antsy, like, "Oh man, I gotta like go do these other things while she's under." But you got her
Mhm.
out of hypnosis, and then you went and checked her phone together, right? How was
Yeah,
that?
and so absolutely. So just to also say, when she was under hypnosis, her subconscious did reveal that her and her husband had a soul contract, and that is part of their mission here in this lifetime is to help them and to work with the grays. It essentially is the grays that they're working with. And so her subconscious said to check the phone because there was video evidence uh, that aligned with the time that was missing. So after the session, and we come out, I was like, "Your subconscious told you to look at your phone." She says, "I said that," and then yeah, yeah. So we started scrolling through the pictures, and what we found was absolutely incredible. I've seen lots of photos of things in the sky, and I've never seen anything like what was on this lady's phone. So just to recap, so the point of view is they're pulled off on the side of the road. So they were going to the grocery store, and they don't remember going to the store. They woke up several hours later on the couch. So with the video, it shows them pulling off to the side of the road, standing on the side of the road, and there's these three spheres that are hovering in front of them, and she's filming it, and you can hear her husband in the background like, "Oh my goodness, what is it, what is it?" And the three spheres are lined up all like this, perfectly even, perfectly aligned, and they're hovering, and then all of a sudden they just flip, and then they align vertically, and him freaking out, and she's like, "What is going on? What is this? I've never seen anything like it." And then the most interesting thing happened is the three spheres, they melted into one, and it turned the color red, and it starts to come closer to them, and then the video cuts off. And yes, and what we discovered happened, they ended up, going on board the ship with them, and they were taking samples, and it was really incredible what was uncovered through the session. And yeah,
So cool, but I
so cool.
again, I don't know, so I know some people would be like, "Oh my god, I don't wanna," but, probably people here are like, "No, I'm super into it," but I love it's also encouraging to me because you know what? Stuff is happening. There
Yes.
are I mean, it could be happening because I had some missing time, it could be happening with us, and, it has been, it's kind of commonly believed or accepted among those who are, like us on the spiritual side, interested in our interaction with interdimensional ETs, and then also in the disclosure conversation that the benevolent, brothers and sisters of other planets have deactivated our nuclear weapons.
Hmm.
Do you know about this? Our weapons of
No, I
mass
don't.
destruction? Yeah, they've gone in there and they've like, "We're gonna turn that off. These kids need to not have that toy." 'Cause if because of the I mean, we do have like this, agreement of the, the law of non-interference, and that, those, that kind of spiritual principle. But because if we blow ourselves up, then that
Mhm.
affects, our solar system and our galaxy, and it has big universal ramifications. So yeah, there's stuff afoot.
No, and it absolutely does. I mean, everything is interconnected through all of the different realms and galaxies. And so when we do something like that, it is felt. It's felt through the
Hmm.
universe.
Hmm. And we have a question here. Have you seen that video? A couple was tapping themselves sleeping. The wife slowly fell into bed and vanished for a short time and then was returned. No, I haven't seen that, and I
I've
wanna.
not seen that. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I haven't, no.
Okay, if you can give us any more information about it, we would love to.
Yeah, a
Um,
link or something would be cool.
oh my gosh, someone said I'm hot. That's nice. I hope you're being nice and not like trolly. I'll take it though. I haven't been called that in years because I'm old. But anyway, um,
Stop.
so, oh, I wanted to also wait. There was something else I wanted to share. I got all distracted. Oh, that has to do with the concept that like in 2027. You and I talk about human design a little bit.
No.
Okay, so do you know about human design?
A little bit. I'm a
Okay.
little bit familiar with it. I know I'm a generator.
Okay. Well, we are changing our paradigm is actually shifting. It's something that happens about every 170
Mhm.
years, our background frequency. So that is actually happening in 2027. And that's, I mean, that's just an astrological, a cosmological fact. It just happens every, what did I say, like 170, something like
Yeah.
that. And then, but at the same time, what we're having is we're in a solar plexus mutation time. So our solar plexuses are being upgraded, and the people who are born after 2027
Mm,
are going to have a very different energy type and be different. So
absolutely.
anyway, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in a lot of different areas. And I would say the other thing, like what we've been going through with this worldwide pandemic, with the virus and the viruses,
Mhm.
that's actually, we're a part of, we are intrinsically, we are the earth herself. And I think the earth is also off gassing, and it's happening through us, maybe because of our own actions, because of our own hands. But I think we can, if we step way back, we can see that there's a lot that's changing. And
Yes.
it's funny because I told my husband that I feel like I kinda hesitate to say something like that because I just assume that because it's happened in other, like, religions that have, like, for example, the Jehovah's Witnesses, that religion started because they believed there was an end times coming, and so they, like, sold all their possessions, and they retreated, and they were expecting, like, the Messiah to return, and that's happened a few times, and so I'm like,
Mhm.
is it a pattern, though? Is that just what we think when we get around, older adulthood? We just think things are really big and important, but I don't know.
I wonder that too. Maybe it's as we age and we reach, older adulthood to your point, but then I see it in younger people as well, and I think it's
Yeah.
undeniable to many people that something has shifted. We're starting to vibrate from out of this 3D mind matrix way of life to more of a heart-based existence, and that is vibrating us to this fifth dimension. And ironically, it feel like it was onset and the pandemic brought this on, which is so weird the way that the two are intertwined, but a lot of things changed for many people. I know countless people who through the pandemic were who changed their careers
Mhm.
or who just like completely shifted and had this awakening. And so it's very interesting to me how the two are connected, but I think it's undeniable. And I think people of
Agree.
all ages are experiencing it, something along those lines.
Yeah, and to the pandemic again, like, so back to the human design, I guess,
Mhm.
prophecy. You would say the incarnation cross that we're under now until 2027 is called the cross of planning, and the overall frequency there is tribal. And now, what to put that in context? I mean, we think of tribal,
Mhm.
yeah, take care of the tribe and everything, but it's more of the primitive tribal kind of mindset where the individual inside the tribe doesn't really have a lot of autonomy. It's this, and so it has like this concept of being a, a small collective identity, and then also having the other tribes. So there's both a loss of autonomy or a neutralizing of autonomy, and then grouping, which we see in our politics, us versus them, is very polarized. So there's both
Mhm.
a neutralization of the individual sovereignty and a polarization against groups. That's what this cross of planning kind of has as an undertone. I mean, there's positive sides to it, but that's where we are right now, shifting from that to the cross of the sleeping phoenix is what we're going to. And the quality of that is more autonomous, individuated, and in the sense that we have the opportunity to be sovereign and satisfied in the self. That gives
Mhm.
us the opportunity to take care of one another too. So it's less like selfish service to self as much as it is actualization of the self, and then that will make us more collective in a positive way, aware. And that happened with the pandemic too. They called it the big quit or the big resignation. Like you said, people
Yeah,
changed their careers. They're like, I don't want to go back to that job. I realized that I was miserable. I'm going to do something else.
I hear.
You're one of them. Yeah.
No, and Trisha, I was absolutely miserable. I had a very high profile position at a large company here in where I'm based out of Las Vegas, and I was, spending my day sitting in these boardroom meetings, learning about finances and Six Sigma. And I found myself looking, out the window and just daydreaming about like, there's got to be more than this. And I was so miserable. I was drinking vodka in the parking lot at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh,
And one day
no.
I know it was a habit of me crying, before going into work. And I stopped and I just looked at my life and I said, I can't do this anymore. I know that I have a higher purpose, a higher calling, and I'm just going to go with it. And I gave my resignation and I started doing this work. I knew that I was meant to do this work. And here I am. It's 2.5 years later. Time's gone by so fast. And it's the best thing that I've ever done. And it was scary at first. Yes, I will admit that. But the universe always has a way of providing. And when you follow your soul's purpose and you're aligned with that purpose, then everything just unfolds the way it's supposed to.
Mm. And I want to add to that download that I got, because I had a sense we were going to talk about this. You know what I mean? Following your
Mm.
purpose.
Oh,
I had a download about it on the way into the studio today, and the way that we can tolerate the difficulties and the I mean, how hard it is and how scary it is to follow your soul
yes.
purpose, to have a kind of sense of life purpose, to move forward, and with Dolores Cannon as our model, to push forward
Mhm.
in a way that doesn't make sense by what we see as the world and the homogenized world. And we don't have very many, or we don't have the world agreeing with us. And so the what we really need to in order to be able to tolerate the challenges and the troubles and even the pain and suffering of following our life purpose or our soul purpose
Mhm.
is play. If we can think of and be in the vibration of life as play and be able to somehow lighten up and pivot to play, that will help us to be able to just move forward and stay in the energy of
Mhm.
it. Now, that doesn't mean taking things uh, so that we aren't really available in a serious way, and it doesn't mean that we
Right.
are spiritually bypassing and not really considering life serious. It's more of it's how we are encouraged by signs and synchronicities, being able to
Mhm.
wait for the next synchronicity to affirm for us, hey, this is working out, and even getting present enough to be certain that there must be a sign and a synchronicity here. Even that energy of it can help us to be in the lightness of play. And the reason for that is because if you think about when we were children, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to play. And a child at play is so creative. Your natural creator self wants to play. And it really wasn't necessary for us to take children out of the mindset and out of the energy of play in order to also educate them. I don't know how to do it. I don't have kids, so I'm not shaming any of us or my parents or anybody, but we can also have play as a part of learning and have the world, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the missing link, is to be
Mhm.
able to somehow pivot to play lightness of being, and the expectation. Maybe it's more like it's also like living, being the light of faith inside your being. I mean, we
Mhm.
know that scientifically that that expectation of things working out, that mindset, it makes us healthier. It gives us the capacity to be out of disease and out of inflammation more. So I don't know. Does that help? Does it help you? Does that help at all?
Absolutely. No, and I would wholeheartedly agree. And to your point, it's not, being at play isn't about, ignoring responsibilities, as an adult, but it's also about balance. And you
Mhm.
do invoke that creativeness when you take that stress off and then you just have fun with it. The creativeness will flow. And for me, it's also about trust,
Yeah.
trusting that my intuition is guiding me in the right direction. My intuition's never been wrong, but I've always, society wants to teach us to not necessarily follow or listen to it. And when we put that paradigm or that thought aside and we go with our intuition, that's when things unfold. And having that trust, it relieves the stress too. Like when you can just go with the flow, be creative, have fun, and have that balance in your life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
while your intuition, like you said, it's not wrong, also don't always understand where I'm being led.
Hmm.
So if I can trust, be in that faith that, well, I may not understand why this is working now, but I'm open to how it will be showing itself to me. I think that's a part of the equation too. Yeah. Well, let everyone know how they can work with you. Tell everyone what I have your. I'm going to highlight your website here, but just tell everyone what you're doing and what kind of how they could work with you.
Absolutely. So I am a QHHT, and I'm also now recently certified in BQH, which is the online version of quantum healing,
Yay!
practitioner. Yay.
Good.
So I work with the deepest realms of the subconscious mind to help heal and get answers to all of your life's questions. I do past life regression is also included in a session. If you'd like to work with me, definitely reach out. If you have any questions, reach out. I can be found. My email address, I'll start there, is the soul experience lv@gmail.com. And my Instagram handle is Jennifer Mitchell, QHHT. And you can visit me online at the soul experiences, and that's plural with an S, thesoulexperiences.com.
Awesome. I'm so glad you can do it online now. We were so
Me
close
too.
to it when yeah, so that's great because now the whole world is your client base.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, I had so much fun. I want to share what I'm up to. Also, I have this Sunday, as we are doing this live, Intuitive Psychic Development Level 2. It's going to be very experiential. There'll be some education and all of those things too, but it's very experiential and the spaces are limited, but I do still have spaces. So that link is there. You can find it if you go to my website, trishacarcharm.com. It pops up at the bottom and it's also under work with me. And did I put that in there? I did. And then I also have advanced channeling, an advanced channeling workshop. This is for people who are already channeling or have started to maybe in their practice. Also deeply experiential, very attuning. This is for us to really upgrade, like boom, you know what I mean? Like to upgrade that clear channel. And other than that, I have some really great announcements coming up soon with my Intuitive Healing Arts Academy. It's going to be really awesome. So let me get rid of that comment. So yeah, that's what's going on with us. Jennifer, this has been so awesome. I love it. I can't wait for
Yes.
you to come on the podcast again. We should schedule that maybe
Love
like for
that.
next month. So
Would
yeah.
love to.
Yeah. So that's what we have for you guys. Thank you so much for coming today and for watching the replay. And we'll catch in with you soon. Again, this is Jennifer Mitchell, QHHT practitioner, and I'm Trisha Carr. And we had the best time with you today.
Thank you.